at the table.
I started like when we started talking about this like about 2 weeks ago, and I think it was because Justin Waller was wanting to put together a show with you, me, Justin Waller, and everybody else. We wanted to talk about really kind of this moralism that's sort of coming at the red pill recently, and I just want to point out right before we get rolling here is that I put out the call on Twitter saying if you want to show up, you know where it is. Right? I said this is where Sticky. Probably George was pissed off at me for doing that.
Rollo, what the fuck?
What are you doing?
Just show up here.
Public.
There's a bunch of black vans outside. Can we lock the front door, please?
I know. It's not that I don't have NGOs in the DHS after me already.
Yes,
but I put out a call and for Chase from whatever podcast and anybody else who wanted a piece. I'm like, you know where it is. Come
wanted a piece.
Yeah, come and get it, right? And of course, nobody wants to do that. So, and that was just sort of proof of concept because we were bouncing around the idea of having sort of like, I think it was me and you and Mike and Justin on one side of the table, and then like I know Chase and Lila Rose and some of these other people who are just sort of come ups in the space right now. And it's like the 90% of the shit that comes out of their mouths is just ignorance. It's like they just don't know what they're talking about. And so my biggest gripe, and if you ever see me type in all caps, there's only one thing that makes me type in all caps. It's when people start saying those red pill guys say X, Y, and Z. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about?
So who? Those red pill guys.
This guy, anybody at the table, like put a fucking name on your Twitter.
Well, they don't want to do that.
Please tell me who you think is saying this.
Because they can't keep quoting Pearl Davis, so they can't do that.
Exactly.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
They can't because that's the only person they're quoting. They're not quoting anyone else.
And this, I could say, okay, so let me go back in time a little bit here, cue up the sound effect for memory lane, right? This kind of started, for us at least, and I want to get your guys' take for sure, but this kind of started for us. We went on Timcast Culture War, right? And for those that aren't aware, it's a 2v2 debate type situation where you sit across the table from someone that pretty much is an antagonist, right? And we sat across from a guy, I forget his name, nice guy though, family guy. It was something like Alpha Dad or something like that. He has a Twitter platform.
Yeah, I remember.
And we debated with him on this situation, and he was arguing, hey, follow Christ, be religious, be a family member, etc., which I agree with.
Yes.
I think everyone here at the table is a big proponent of the nuclear family. And let me be extremely clear about that. Me and you have talked about it extensively with the nuclear family. Everyone here at the table, I've had conversations with you guys about the nuclear family and how it is the backbone of a thriving civilization. But let's understand that we're in 2024 and the landscape has changed. So I'm telling them, look, that is ideal, but we got to operate on what's real. Women are no longer the same. And just because you found your wife and you were able to get her on your program and she was, fears God and everything else, a lot of these hoes don't. That's not how the world works anymore. So we had this debate, and people kind of saw like, okay, that's ideal, but the reality is most people aren't religious anymore. Most people live secular lives. Most people live godless lives, and you got to kind of adapt to the new normal and understand how to at least identify these women so that you don't take them seriously. Right. At least identify them.
I think exactly. Having slept around a lot, you really learn what women do. You learn how to tell when they're shady. Like, if you haven't gone and slept around, you aren't going to be able to read women. You have to go. I think it was you who said go sleep with at least 50 women or something. It's
they go after me all the time.
That's not even that many, but that's how you start like learning women, though.
It's so funny.
That's not that many.
50. I mean, what are you talking about?
It sounds like, but that's like how you learn the psychology. And you see when women, you see the lies they're telling other dudes when they're you and shit, and you start being like, oh, so you learn to spot the signs. If you ain't doing that, you can't. Like I could tell. Hey, some girls are good liars, but I could usually tell pretty quick their character because I've gone and done the crazy shit. And I think for men, we can live like that, and it's easy for us when we want to go settle down, get a family. The girls don't care. Unfortunately for women, it don't work that way. The girls are usually out running around. I see the girls I used to party with, most of them are still single, trying to find a man. And most of the guys that we're doing this with, settled down, living a different life. So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't think everyone's different. I don't say you guys need to do that, but you're going to learn a woman a lot better if you do.
Yeah. How much of the argument coming from the traditional argument?
Oh, my bad. Sorry. So so fast forward. So it started there with the culture war, right? Yeah. And it kind of brought attention to it. And then next thing I know, Tradcons are kind of saying like, and I know they're talking about me because they're using the 50, using the number, the marker, 50 girls. Because I came out, long story short, hey,
they fixate
you don't want to get married unless you have a few things in place. Make $100,000 per year, have 6 months of savings, be in shape, 35 years old, and have sex with 50 women. I think at that position, you're in a situation where you are aware of women, you're financially competent to a degree, where you could be in a position where a woman will respect your authority to some degree. The average woman should be able to follow that lead. You set a decent example at that point, right? That's just to get married. 50 girls, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Going crazy. So I see the Tradcons over on, on whatever, saying whatever, and, obviously Chase saying what he says. And he's like making it look like I'm sitting here promoting degeneracy, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just telling guys to adapt to the new normal.